Hey there guys, how's it going? Welcome to a video where I'm going to be showing you some Watch Dogs gameplay on the PC on ultra settings, as well as generally just giving my opinions on the game. What does it do well? What is it not so good at? Does it live up to the hype? And is this a game you should be considering for those of you who are sitting on the fence, not sure if you want to buy this game or not? So first things first, let's talk about the graphics and how well optimized the game is. It's quite a talking point at the moment, especially for the PC, and the fact that on the next generation consoles it doesn't look quite as good as people had hoped in general. Now I'm very fortunate, I've got a 780 Ti which Nvidia sent me, and to be honest, the game at the moment runs extremely well on there. Not perfect, there are some frame drops, it's not a constant 60 in all areas, but for the most part it's a very high frame rate. There's no glitching, there's no weird textures or anything like that, and I'm very impressed with how it looks, especially on my PC. I don't have PS4 or Xbox One for comparison, but the one thing that is incredible in this game, and probably the best I've seen in any game I've ever played on the PC, is the lighting and the shading. Sometimes the lighting is just so incredible. Like, I don't know what they've done with it, but it definitely looks a lot more realistic than many games I've seen. For instance, on some of the cars where they have a very shiny metallic texture, when that looks very strong, it looks incredible. A bit like the GTA 4 mods that you got on PC, the real life shaders, it looks like that. The way the light reflects off of the windows on the buildings looks superb. It's obviously all done in real time, and it's actual reflections, not just, you know, painted on reflections that it might be. These are real reflections off of windows, cars, and all that kind of thing. It makes it look very, very nice. Even in the dark areas it looks nice, and my favourite time of day is kind of sunrise and sunset, because you get a real nice kind of orange tint to it. So graphically on the PC, I'm very impressed. I have to say, the first day that I played the game, I thought it was a complete mess, but it just wasn't optimized very well. I was playing the game and I was getting lots of stuttering and jittery gameplay. However, a driver came out the next day from Nvidia which really helped those issues, and now it runs really smooth. Not 100% 60 plus frames all the time, but it's a very nice looking game, probably one of the best looking games I've ever played considering its scope, and it runs well. Now I have to sympathise with those of you who maybe have PCs that have maybe AMD cards, because Nvidia worked very closely with Ubisoft here to make sure it ran very well on the Nvidia cards and used their technology. I'm not sure how it runs on anything else, but if you have it on a system and it's not running well, don't get me wrong, that really plays into how enjoyable the experience is. Like I said, I don't know for PS4 or Xbox One. I'm just going to go ahead and presume it runs smoothly, but obviously it doesn't look quite as good as the PC version. Now, in terms of the game itself, we talked about graphics. How does the game play? Now, the first thing I noticed was the driving, and the driving seemed a bit off at first. It just takes some getting used to. It's very sharp and precise, not as floaty as GTA 5. Obviously, that's probably the game a lot of you have been playing when you're actually going to go on and play Watch Dogs. But it just takes to get a bit of getting used to. The first thing I did notice about the driving as well is the car sounds aren't very good, and it just doesn't feel realistic. And it's a shame, because when you're on foot, this game feels incredibly real and very immersive, and I find that the sounds of the cars and the way the cars move and the way they kind of stick to the road a bit doesn't feel that realistic. So when you're in a car, it's a little bit disappointing. However, I've got to say, when you're on foot, obviously it looks incredible. Now, in terms of the story and what there is to do in the game, for me this is the biggest selling point, and it took a bit of getting used to. As I say, I hate to make the reference again, but the game a lot of people have been playing recently that's maybe some way similar to this would be GTA 5, and for me it flows a lot better than GTA 5. Another similar game is Sleeping Dogs. I'd say this is a bit closer to the way Sleeping Dogs plays than GTA 5. GTA 5 was a great game, but the story, it's kind of linear, and yes, there is side missions, but it doesn't really push you into them. There's no real point in doing them. You don't get rewards, but this game is very well planned out in terms of things to do. Even if you just love free roaming like I do, especially because I've got it on a nice PC, so I can run it on ultra, it looks incredible. So sometimes I just love to run around the world, and what it does very well is it tempts you into little side missions as you're going around the world. There's constantly these little kind of crimes going on that it alerts you to in the area, and you can go and take down the criminal for a few XP points. Also, it constantly pops up every now and then with like an online game that you can join in on. And it's just nice to be tempted out of your free roam that you're enjoying by these little things, because I can get a bit carried away and actually end up never doing anything in a sandbox game. That's just the kind of gamer I am. But I really love the way this game's kind of an organic world that's constantly evolving and constantly doing something, and it makes the game flow really well. Now, the campaign, from what I've played so far, I think I'm only on Act 2 here, so you have to bear in mind I haven't played a lot of it, is very, very enjoyable. Really loving the missions. They're not too difficult, but they're quite fun to play. I absolutely love the stealth gunplay. Most of the missions, I try and do them stealth. I just go around my silenced pistol, and I love just trying to go around without anyone noticing me, getting sneaky little headshots. It kind of reminds me of Metal Gear Solid in that sense, because you can do it very stealthily. However, you can go in all guns blazing as well if you want to do that. It's very nice that it leaves it open to interpretation in terms of how you want to approach each mission. So overall, the gameplay itself takes a bit of getting used to. Obviously, if you're used to GTA 5 or Sleeping Dogs, it doesn't have a melee system, which is a bit of a disappointment, but you kind of get used to that. I mean, if you really want to just annoy people on the streets, you can always set things off, set traffic lights off, you know, shoot at people and throw bombs around. If you want to cause a bit of panic in the city, you can do that. The conversations in the world are quite good. Like, if I want to talk about the world a little bit more, because it's very important in a game like this. Like, there's always people talking to each other, and the conversations are very believable, very well voice acted, and there's definitely a high number of things going on. When you actually use your hacking element, which I haven't really talked about, which is a big feature of the game, the hacking is very cool. Allows you to see people's occupation, what they get up to. I don't really use it too much, apart from when I'm doing missions. I'm not really interested in finding out information about people, but it's a nice thing to have. And the fact that you can hack into traffic lights and all kinds of signs and fuse boxes definitely adds something else to the game and makes this not another copy and paste game, makes it something a little bit different. The water in the game on PC and Ultra is one of the best water behaviours and textures that I've ever seen. The light reflects beautifully off it, and I don't think you could ask for any more in terms of how good the water looks. Definitely not disappointing at all, which it could be in a game like this where it's such a complicated world. Probably the best I've ever seen. I can't think of much better water that I've actually seen in a game similar to this. So the water looks incredible, and another thing that looks absolutely amazing are the trees. And I know this might be a bit random to you, like, why are you talking about the trees, you know, tell us about the game. But for me, these things are the game. It's the world that makes the game. All the detail, every last detail is what makes something immersive. And if things are more and more realistic, it just allows your immersion to be heightened, and that doesn't take you out of the game. There's nothing more kind of annoying in a game like this, where you're walking around, you feel like you're actually in a real city, and then you see a horrible bush texture, or just something looks really unrealistic. But every detail in this I'm very, very pleased with, and I definitely think this is worthy of the AAA rating that the game gets. So overall, it's a game I highly recommend. Great graphics, great story and gameplay. I was a bit disappointed on the first day because it wasn't optimized very well, and anyone who's running on a PC that doesn't optimize it very well, I hope you find some good settings, because it definitely can run very well. And so graphically and gameplay wise, the way the game handles very good, and the storyline and just how the game progresses I also really enjoy as well. So definitely up there with some of my favorite games in this genre, and I would only put it as the best game in this genre because it just looks so incredible for me on my PC. Sleeping Dogs is probably my favorite. I love GTA 5 for how crazy it is and just the nostalgia factor, but for me, Sleeping Dogs is a little bit better than GTA 5 because it's got that incredible melee system where it's got like kung fu and the great storyline as well. But I would put this one above both of those just about because I'm on PC. Maybe if you don't have it running on the settings I've got it running on, you might not put it up there, but for me, because a huge part of a game like this is the immersion of it and how much you enjoy being in the world, the way that all the lighting is so perfect and it looks so incredible really is a huge factor for me, as well as it does play nicely. Another thing that it does well that is better than, say, GTA 5 and some of the other games around is they've put sprint on right trigger, which is very, very good move. There's nothing more annoying than in GTA. You want to sprint around and you're having to tap the A button, which takes your thumb off of the right thumbstick, meaning that you can't aim and run at the same time, and it makes it a real pain and really doesn't help the gameplay at all. So overall, very pleased with this game. I'd definitely recommend getting it. For me, on my setup, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Perhaps if it's on PS4 or Xbox One, it doesn't look quite as incredible, maybe an 8 out of 10. And like I said, I hate to be like all about the graphics, but it's about immersion, not graphics. That's what takes the game to the next level for me, which gives it a little bit more on my PC. But then again, I haven't played it on PS4 or Xbox One, so maybe I'll go on there and think it looks just as incredible. Also, one thing I want to note at the end, there is a ton of side missions in this game, and they are really fun. Cash games to rank up XP, you've got horde mode, you've got games of poker, you've got parkour runs, you've got chess games, you've got the ball and cup game. That's what it's called, the ball and cup game. I can't remember what it's called. But there's a lot of stuff to do like that as well. So overall, I really enjoy it. If you want to actually pick this up for the PC, I've got a G2A link down in the description below, which you can buy it for only £29. You get an instant Uplay code. And also, if you register with my discount code and use my link, I've got a discount code of JAY, you can get an extra 3% off, save yourself a little bit of money on an already cheap price. I think the game is still £39 on Steam. So go get the game dead cheap on PC using my link down below if you're interested in buying this. And that's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.